the fuck? What is up, guys? My name is Sully, and wow, it has been a long time since I've had to step in front of a camera, and I'll be honest, it feels a little bit weird. The background's changed, my hair's changed a little bit. It's been crazy, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be back with another video. It's been quite some time since I've made an analytical piece of content, so I'm happy I can deliver something to you guys. So let's go over our intro, and then we'll jump right into it. Over a year and 3 months have passed since TSM played Sentinels in the Faze Invitational Grand Finals. And man, it was one heck of a best of 5. It's a best of 5 that I think will be remembered for the entirety of Valorant's lifetime. And in that time, Valorant has changed an incredible amount. Teams have become more advanced as the understanding of how to use utility in rounds and how to use utility mid-round, post-round, and at the start of rounds has continued to evolve. Teams themselves have gotten incredibly smart. The meta has changed drastically, and teams have continued to shuffle out players and shuffle in players. One team, though, has always remained consistent, and yes, I'm talking about Sentinels. Yeah, it's in the title. You already knew how this video was going to go down. Today, I'm going to be comparing the Sentinels during the Faze Invitational versus the Sentinels of today that we got to see play in Champs. I don't know when this video is going out, so it might come out a week after they played against Fear. It might come out 2 weeks after Champs ends. I don't know, okay? I made this video. I'm a student. Don't blame me. Anyways, we're going to be looking at Faze. Oh my god, Faze. Anyways, we're going to be looking at Sentinels competing against TSM on Haven for our first VOD, and then we'll be looking at Sentinels during their time in Champs on Haven. So, let's get right into it. Alright, so, one of the things before we quickly hop into this VOD review is I want to quickly touch on the 2 different compositions that Sentinels elected to use in the Faze Invitational versus here in the Valorant World Championships. So, they haven't really ever made too many changes, and one of the most consistent things that we've seen in the Sentinels Haven composition is that use of Phoenix. Sick has always been a Phoenix player. If we look at their history on Haven, he has always been playing that. Of the 79% win rate that they have, of the hundreds of maps that they've played, Sick has always been playing the Phoenix. Here, however, he is elected to take the Sky, and these are one of the few times we are going to see a double composition change on Haven. Most of the time, we see them run the core of Jett, Sova, Cypher, and Phoenix, with Zombs electing to flex between smokes. We've seen him play Omen when that Omen meta was around, and we saw him play Astra when Astra came around. So I don't really have too much to talk about when it comes to the Jett, Cypher, and Sova. I feel like those are pretty common agents to play on this map, and in fact, they are probably some of the most useful. Sova to get that information. Cypher's super good to hold down sites, and for the style that Sentinels like to go, which is aggressive, at least in their new era, is aggression to get map control. Cypher has always been really good, and of course, you have to have a Jett. But let's take a look at how they like to use Sky and Astra, and we're going to talk into, I'll show some clips as well. The key thing here, at least in the new era of Sentinels, is they will be using a lot of utility to get a control, and that's what that Astra provides, right? To be able to throw stars, smokes, grab wells, nova pulses, wherever on that map, to have that ability and to be able to get control towards an A site by throwing a simple gravel combo with the recon bolt and aggression from either the operator of tens or a dueling battle from Sick. Astra can be so valuable on retakes, on post plants, on both the defensive and offensive side. Now, speaking about why Sick is maybe elected to change over to the Sky instead of the Phoenix, well, there are definitely going to be a lot of reasons for it. Phoenix's kit has always been up in the air, and I think Haven has been one of the few maps where people have definitely found him to be acceptable on. However, with the recent changes and the meta changes that have happened to Sky, keep in mind, when they were playing the Faze Invitational, Sky wasn't available, but even then, they always stuck to Phoenix. Now, recently, they have decided to make that change because of her utility. To have the ability to have basically 2 drones, in the sense that you have a Trailblazer and an Aldrone between the Sova and Sky, that is something that you simply cannot replace. And to have that ability to get control by using one piece of utility, it's super valuable. Not to mention her flashes and the ability to get information. If you want to be aggressive, especially on that defensive side, and to be able to initiate and take fights, you want to have full control over your flashes, and to have the ability to send a deep guiding light over towards that C side and allow tens to dash through as the Jett to get that control on is super valuable. And not to mention, again, those flashes are super good for controlling back sites and locking it down. So now that we've gone over the compositions, I'm going to show a couple of rounds from both the Faze Invitational and the current Champs game that they had against Furia. We're going to be first looking at the defensive side and comparing some of the new setups and what they've been doing, and maybe some things that are similar. Alright, so I got to touch on it a little bit when we were talking about the compositions, but one of the big changes that we have seen, and that we will see when we go to the Faze Clan Invitational VOD, is that, well, Sentinels their new focus, or at least nowadays in the modern era of Valorant, the main focus is to always fight for a long control. Most of the time, we're going to see a lot of early fights initiated by a Sova, sending a deep recon bolt, obviously over towards this back corner here. And we see again that util usage here. The Astra Star coming out to allow a Gravel, a Suck to come in, and a deep smoke here for this fight to happen. So this is just a pistol round, or apologies, the second round after the pistol. But we will see a lot of early fights happen like this from the Sentinel side. And so I'm just going to let this clip play out, kind of show you what they've been doing and how they like to take these early fights. And this is a fundamental building block for whenever Sentinels want to set up for a round is, okay, we need to figure out what part of the map do we want to control. And a theme that we're going to see, and we'll see it later on in the next clip that I show you of this VOD, is that wherever Dapper isn't playing is where they're going to be getting aggressive. So let's see how this round plays out, how they like to take these fights, and what they do early on. So there it is. Early on, 3-4 pieces of util come in. The guiding light. Nobody isn't aggressive here. So what they now know is off of that key, okay, no one is going to be fighting in here. Recon Bolt will double check to clear that out. And then they have a Nebula back here with this Gravwell. And early on, we're going to see this double peek come through. Triple peek, if you want to call it that. And this is how they very early on get this full site control. And as you can see, there will be a counter flash to come in. But Sentinels, this is the establishment, the control that they want early on, and some that we're going to see constantly throughout the rest of this game. So now we have moved over to the Faze Clan Invitational VOD, and well, looking at the minimap already, there is a huge difference in the way that Sentinels have decided to set themselves up. Already off the bat, you can see, well, there's no A pressure, there's no A control. While the circumstances might be different, this is a full gun round for both Sentinels and TSM, and the other VOD we saw was an anti-eco essentially. But still, the fundamentals are there, and this is how Sentinels like to play Haven back in the day. And it's weird saying back in the day because it was only like a year ago, but there's a lot more of a mid-centric focus. We'll see Sinatra, who was the Sova at the time. Again, there was no 10s at this point in time with Sentinels. Shazam was playing the Jet Operator. We're going to see Sinatra elect to use his Sova Recon Bolt and help Sick to initiate fights, and trying to use those flashes, what we talked about earlier when we were talking about the compositions, is that Sick, no matter what, with his utility, is always playing a flash character trying to initiate fights, and this is how they're going to try and set it up. So I'm going to let the round play out here, but notice already the big difference in what Sentinels wanted to play here and where the faults might come and lie. Early on, Sentinels were looking for that mid control, which they are able to get pretty easily. Now, the only issue in this instance is unfortunately, because of the fact that they are playing so passive towards the A side and playing a retake, they simply have no idea where their opponents can go. You have full mid control, but there are still 2 sites that they can take. And while you may have this mid control, you have to make this long rotation. If you decide, okay, we have mid, let's leave A because Dapper's over there. He's kind of hunkering down, just playing retake here. Let's head to the C side. If you get it wrong, you got to tail it all the way across, and you go through this risky mid spot area where you could get caught off by anyone playing this mid side from TSM. And this is what we see here. We're going to see this rotation from Sentinels go towards this C side. We'll fast forward it just a little bit. They get the info that there's nobody mid, and they start to pivot back over here. Now, here's the thing, is that Sentinels Dapper's setup would work theoretically if he was playing the back site. You can see this setup is to prevent players from getting to the back site. However, Dapper himself is not in a position to utilize these trips. These are simply ways to delay, and they're not going to help Sentinels take these early on fights. And so this is one of the themes that we saw during the Faze Clan Invitational, the old era of Sentinels, as if there wasn't a focus of getting early map control, and only later on in this map do we see that late adjustment. But this was one of the big issues that they came across, and it's what allowed TSM to get 5 rounds on them in a row until they decided to change things up and end up fighting on. So this round here in our Faze Clan Invitational VOD is an instance that I want to show where Sentinels have just really good site control and know how to use their ultimates and have a game plan for what they want to do. So let's go ahead and play this clip on out. As you can see, Sick is going to get the early information that there's contact there. Early on in this round, there was a fight that happened over here towards a short. That was the result of Sick using his ultimate. So already off a rep, they know this is going to be a hit. The rotations have already been cleared out. They know that nobody's worked up into the B site. Shazam, though, is going to be cautious that there could be anyone spotting towards mid. Sees nothing. They immediately back away Orbital strike gets called in here by the side of TSM. So this back site now has been cleared. TSM has full control of the site, but look at the way they decide to take the retake. 2 players instantly hopping into heaven because they know what they want to do. And what they want to do is they want to call an ult and deny this plant. That camera gets all of that information. And geez Louise, ult goes in. They deny the spike plant. Zombs gets 2 kills. Sick is able to back away and recoup with the rest of his team. Now Sentinels have cleared out this part of the site. Now the main focus pivots back. We know where the spike is. We need to be cautious of here and here. And look at what they do and how they play out this round. I'm going to fast forward a couple of seconds here just to get the point across. They're able to delay. They use utility, isolating the fight, clearing and forcing anyone in this area to step here and step here to make the fight a little bit easier. We will see eventually Spike get picked up here by TSM. The ult goes out. But for now, Sentinels, they know, all right, Spike hasn't gone down. We have Sick up top. He would hear the sound cue. We don't need a fight. Smokes go out and this blaze wall goes up. And what this does is, here's the risk, right? So they've mollied out this part of the site and they know, okay, no one should be there. We know where the spike is. Cutler went for the body here under heaven. That means he's going to be on this side of the site. Let's use his blaze wall to split. Now he simply cannot get the spike down. Why? Smoke out here. And while, yes, you have Wardell here holding with the operator, anyone could slip through, if we look on the map here, and cross over to deny this spike plant here. And Wardell can't do anything about it because of that jet smoke. Keep in mind, this was the era where jet smokes were like 8 seconds long and they were ridiculous. And you had 3 of them. So Sentinels are simply using utility to delay. And with this wall, there's the risk someone jumps down and denies the spike plant even further. So we've seen 2 pieces of utility that are just going to buy time. Second piece of utility to buy time. Third piece with the hot hands going out. Now, this is how Sentinels, and what they've always been good at, is isolating fights, using the utility apologies to isolate fights, and then using utility to delay. And they do it almost textbook here. This is a round where when they use the utility, this is something similar to what we would see at the professional level today when you have a masterclass understanding. So this next segment is going to be just a very quick segment of the almost the exact same playstyle that Sentinels today and the Sentinels back then did, and it's how they control the B site and the changes that they've made. So this time around, Shazam, who's now playing the Sova during the Champions League, let's not get too confused. Sinatra was the one playing back then at the TSM Faze Clan Invitational. They are going to use a textbook backside B play and how they want to control it. So this is an absolutely nutty play, but look at this. Recon Bolt goes in here. Dapper is going to be playing on this A side. This is something that we typically see, and it's almost the exact same thing that we saw, or what we will see after I show the next clip. Dapper playing this solo A side. Again, basic trips here, controlling heaven, ensuring that he can work off of his trips to fight against. They move Shazam over towards this B side after playing early on and sending a Recon Bolt over towards the A side. Now that he has it charged up, this is, you're gonna see the differences, and I'll probably do a side by side here, but look. Shock Dart goes in to hold back this push. Tens is able to swing across. Okay, I see nothing. Let me hold this for a second. There should be a little bit of time in case someone crosses to get to this back right side. But for now, let me just take this fight. Takes the dash, and look at how they isolate this fight. Immediately, Shazam is here for the repeat, and okay, well, this kill is kind of just nutty, and only one player in the world could pull that up, and it had to be Tens. And Shazam, so quick to send a Recon Bolt to support his teammate. He comes in to help the fight, and they control this back site. Shazam isolating these 1v1s and is able to drop the spike down, find the frags, and control it. And now let's jump over to the other clip where you're going to see almost the exact same thing, but with just 2 different people. All right, so we're kind of jumping straight into the round here. It's a double op setup with an Odin from Sinatra, who has the Odin as a Sova, of course. But look again here. Sinatra on the Sova is playing over towards this B site. A heavy C side stack here as they're looking ready for this fight. But we're going to fast forward a little bit as Shazam, who on this jet op, is able to find these early kills. Look at, again, this setup that's being used here. Short control and long control. Similar to what we saw earlier in the Champions VOD. Is that, okay, they're fighting a little bit more towards this A side. A lot more aggressive of a control here. But let's fast forward just a little bit. And this is the play that I'm talking about. We're going to go back a couple of seconds just to check it out. Cage pops up at the perfect time. Footsteps. Noise can be heard here by these 2 players. All right, we know they're players towards this B side. We have short control. We took a fight out towards long. We have heard nothing on C so far. There can only be one place where they're coming from. And the reason why is because an Aljon was set earlier there by Sinatra. Now they've got the information. All right, Players are coming on in. Smokes go. And it's the exact same thing. Shock Dart goes into delay. Gives Sick plenty of time to prime up his Flash. Flash goes in and he isolates this fight. And oh my goodness. If this isn't a mirror play, I honestly don't know what is. Sentinels, things have changed, but some things will always stay the same. And it's a basic play, but man, Sick initiating the fight. Oh man, it's something super cool to see. One of the cool comparisons that I saw during my VOD review. But yep, Sentinels, that's been their defensive side of Haven. Let's maybe take a look at their attacking side now.
So I lied. We're not going to look at the attacking side. I'm in post-edit, and I realize this video is 20 minutes long, and I do not want to bore anyone with a 40-minute video. So if you guys want another comparison video of any team, old Envy or Twat, as they once were called, versus the new Envy, or Cloud9 then, Cloud9 now, Gambit then, Gambit now, SEN then, SEN. I don't know. If you want me to do another one of these comparison videos, please let me know in the comments. Leave a like so I know that you like this kind of video. It's been a minute. I'm sorry this video is really rough on the edges, but I was just super excited to be able to VOD review, to have time to make a video for you guys. And I appreciate you guys being so patient with me, as I am super inconsistent. But that has been this video. If you guys did like it, please do subscribe to the channel. I sound like the most basic YouTuber, but it does give me motivation, and it definitely lets me know that you guys like these kind of videos. And you know, it gives me a little bit of validation. You know, I like it like that. Like it as well, share it. Maybe you learned something, maybe it didn't, but hopefully this gave you something. It's been a minute, guys, so I'm happy that maybe you guys would enjoy this kind of video. But otherwise, it's been Sully. Follow me on Twitter. Stay up to date with everything I'm doing. I will be back casting. I will be back very soon.